Welcome to Module 5 of Winning Websites. We're cruising right through to Site Assets. And there is my good pal Adam Volk presenting on one of our social school conference stages on all things website. So we've talked a lot about the, work backwards process for developing the right kind of website that your users want from you and that you know you need to deliver. And when we're really specifically diving into the assets of your site, that written copy, video, imagery, whatever you have that makes up the meat and potatoes of your website, we need the right kind. Not too much, the right type of dimensions and size for loading purposes, and the sort of stuff that compels and creates action. The long form content inclusions. This is very important for SEO reasons so that Google site crawlers and indexes can find the right words throughout our site, also known as keywords, and then serve up our website in search queries to the people looking for our products and services. The best way to do this is with blogs. This is the long form content where we can get a little bit more detailed, show our authority and our expertise and why we know what we're talking about, and even build personality, etc. In our content classes, we talk a lot about blog cadence and how one blog per week for an entire year can do wonders, not only for your SEO and search rankings, but just again, for building trust and understanding of what you do and provide. So if it's not blogs, there's other ways to do it with copy on your site that's not overwritten or, too epically long, but it does include the right words that are so important for search. And then again, reverse engineering all of those needs in the setup process before we begin, which is why we wireframe, draw it out, and then have separate copy documents or photo repositories and folders building on the side as we go. If you have those things in place, when it's time to sit down and build, you can literally pull together your Shopify or Squarespace or Kajabi site in a few hours. Have I mentioned yet that less is more? Or some other classic social school cliches? If you confuse, you lose, speak their language, not yours. Yes, all of those things. But I want to point out here that brevity piece. As much as I've just said long form content is important, don't assume that that means 5,000 word blog posts. It might be 5 paragraph blog posts or 3 that are really well crafted, or maybe pulled as a transcript from that video blog that you do once a week and placed in the right spots on your site. Speaking in short, punchy, compelling sound bites and headlines is a lot harder than waxing on for pages and pages. And we've all read those types of articles and you're out. No one's got time for that. If we didn't have time for that in 1995, we sure don't now. 50 years later. I was a little bit backdated. Anyway, I was alive then, maybe you weren't. So we don't need 200 images, we need 20. And we don't need 3,000 words per page, we probably need 300. We look at this a lot in our email marketing classes. Beautifully crafted emails that have a mix of copy and mostly written in headlines, imagery and calls to action are like little mini websites and built beautifully in today's email marketing tools. And what that means is that you've got one image that shows it, doesn't say it, and then that headline, subheader, call to action, and sometimes any newsletter can have like 200 words or less. Amen. We're not writing novels anymore here. And it all goes back to that demand from our users most of the time for copy and content that just catches our attention and leads us somewhere to get more. So great content. Sure, it's no small feat, but you've seen it, you resonate with it when it hits you or when you find it in your internet travels, and we can all achieve it. We want to make sure that all of the copies, calls to action, imagery, etc. supports our overall goals, but more importantly, those of our users. So let's look at a couple sites here for some various examples of where things are shining and performing really well. A product forward website. This could be built in Shopify, although I think it's a custom site, but ETQ shoe company out of Europe. I just love the thumbnail images. Then you've got these big hero images, but very little text, so little copy. And they've got their imagery categorized, or their thumbnail kind of entry portals. I can go in and find more. And that's where I'm going to find a little bit more description about each product or collection. But so Google gets what it wants, but as someone who's just an eye candy shopper, I really get what I want the moment I land on this page and I see the shoes. Information meets interaction. This is a really neat site from J. Hornig Coffee Company. I love this one because while it has the same type of idea, minimalistic copy, lots of beautiful, colorful imagery that's so product forward and can't help but look delicious and leave me wanting more. I can hover over the various squares on that homepage, which I'm, guess what, intuitively able to do because I'm not an idiot and I use a lot of websites, as do all of us. Don't underestimate just how easily and well-versed in navigation your users are, that I can hover and I intuitively know that if that card flips over, and that's maybe just a secondary version of that image. You can do that in any website builder. That's the secondary hover image that's going to actually be a price or a graphic that shows me what to do next, some kind of call to action. So really kind of cool way to create this animation and engagement on that hero image on the most basic kind of website type. You don't have to code this or make it some sort of fancy thing, just to have little pop-ups or subtle call outs as you scroll through your website or a website. And then take note in the bottom left corner there, a chat bot. And chances are it is a pre-programmed bot, not a live human. And that's what most of them are. And from there, they're asking, hey, do you need any help? What can we do for you? And from there, I can probably access a human pretty quickly or voice my question or concern, and it'll get answered in a seamless fashion as compared to digging through their site, looking for their contact page, finding an email address, bumping back to my inbox, and feeling generally annoyed. Associations, nonprofit organizations have their work cut out for them. And a lot of the time that's simply because it's groupthink. It's websites and organizations built by large boards of directors and volunteer groups. And sometimes cutting that content down, as we see a lot of them who come to our website launch lab and they've got a 120-page website, and we say your first task is to go away and ruthlessly cut out 80% of that copy and put it into an investor report or, archive blog posts or something, but simplify it like crazy. But the other challenge can often be just how to come across really engaging and entertaining and compelling. Similarly, some of the more buttoned up corporate groups we've worked with, I'm going to use oil and gas companies as an example. A particular pipeline company we did a lot of work with recently, whose website was very much pleasing the investors and boards of directors, which they considered their stakeholders. Well, lo and behold, this particular pipeline corporation had actually lost the social license to operate, if you will, where 20 years ago they could dig any pipeline, proceed unchecked, and none of us knew. We didn't have the tools or the immediate social media feeds telling us what they were up to so that road blockades would fire up or environmentalists would raise a hand. But now that is the world we live in. And if you're not creating websites, no matter how dry or corporate or, many volunteer people running your organization you're going to run into the issue of being totally irrelevant for your actual stakeholders. So I guess my point here is, how can you be as engaging and interesting as possible if you're a charity, a nonprofit, or again, sort of a more kind of traditional corporate organization? This one in particular, the Teachers Guild, I just love that image, where the one teacher is shouting with delight. Maybe they're playing some kind of game and they're showing their personality. And then, the line there, teachers are the innovators education has been waiting for. It's not necessarily speaking to me, but it is kind of tackling some sort of misconception or a pain point or something that this Teachers Guild organization obviously feels the need to portray. And they're doing it in a really welcoming, cool way that shows immediate personality, humanity, and kind of magnetism. Memorable user experience. So in this site here, this is one that is it's actually a charitable fundraiser for the Amazon rainforest, and it's built by an organization out of Denmark that's an environmental organization. But the point is that it's a really neat interactive website. So it's got custom code. It was created for the sort of gamification factor where I can go in almost like a video game and find different regions and little areas of the Amazon, whether it's a native village or it's a deforestation area or it's some kind of learning experience. Just a really cool interactive website. So there's a time and a place for these. Are they dated quickly? Sometimes. Are they expensive? Often. But there's opportunities for us to incorporate maybe an interactive map on our website, or something else that allows us to just do something a little different if it's warranted, if our users desire it, that's going to really create a memorable user experience and hopefully the kind of engagement and, just simply buzz that we're looking for. All right, strong calls to action. I really love this example here from Spotify because just in about 13 words, if you will, they are so just compelling me in and removing some of these kind of contradictions or pain points that I might have. So free music, millions of songs. Like, yeah, if that's for me, I'm interested. But can it play on any device? Plays on any device. Well, do I have to give my credit card? No credit card required. Get Spotify for free. I love it. They've done a lot right there. They've basically painted a picture of who they are and what they do and why it's good for me. And then they've removed any objections, the most commonly asked ones anyway, two, probably the most common. And then they've invited us in for free. So really high quality, super simple, show it, don't say it, or just get it done in as few words as possible type website. Back to that Wix example, simple, clear, and concise copy is the goal, and knowing exactly what it is your users are looking for. Create a website you're proud of, because we know you're not proud of the one you've got. Discover the platform that gives you the freedom to create, design, manage, and develop your web presence exactly the way you want. Holy smokes, sounds awesome. Get started. Really neat tagline, subheadline, and then call to action. So, let's get our assets in order here. Our mission, our vision, and our value statements. So important. If you have to go back and revisit these, really good place to start. We've got no shortage of these types of exercises to develop and refine short and long bios, key messages, value statements, tone, voice, all the things that we need to identify before we just start puking out content on the internet or building our website. We do a lot of that in our content writing and publishing class in our social media marketing certificate, but throughout our content courses and labs. So I encourage you to start there if needed, or refine it often if that makes sense and if you feel like you should. Maybe your organization is growing and changing quickly. Clear and simple product and service offering descriptions, like one sentence. And then if you get the chance in your product description to open that product up into something bigger, great, 3 sentences. And if it's a longer, more expensive product, wow, okay, yes, we're building an entire sales page and following a sales page formula. But as long as we have these written somewhere, they provide fantastic social media fodder. And more importantly, in the website building world, we're ready to go with them and just simply build out our shop immediately and keep it really fresh. So get those in order. Contact info, FAQs, contact forms, helplines, all of these little add-ons that are super important for our website. And where can we get people the answers they need quickly? It might be with a chatbot or live customer support widget, but it could just be with an FAQ page, which is often traveled almost as much as someone's about page. And it gets people what they need and saves you from having to play customer service. Compelling company value-driven imagery. This is where, if needed, it's a good idea to do, say, quarterly photo shoots. Having a blend of original photography with stock photography is really important. And it's okay to use stock when you don't have original photos, or you're a chiropractor and you just don't have that much content. Okay, well, let's talk about getting some end result photos, some customer testimonial photos, and some actual human beings that you've helped and served, not just photos of your process and your product, because that's very promotional and it gets boring quickly. So thinking outside the box when you can get some original photography, but then filling the gaps with beautiful stock. In our tool shop, we have a few styled stock photo sites that we love, but there's no shortage of great content and photography on the internet for you to use for free with the right license, and essentially just continuously have beautiful imagery that follows or that suits your brand ready to go. When I'm in agency world and we have a client that needs, the next 3 months worth of content, we're building out their Q2 content strategy, we'll do a big photo shoot. And the chef at the restaurant that we're working with will bring out every single meal and menu item. And our photographer will shoot them with different backdrops and scenery and just engagement, people, and make sure that we've caught every single possible burger and French fry we can. And if we miss any, we can fill the gaps with stock. But that's just a matter of being organized, working backwards with our content needs for the quarter ahead or our website needs, and then ensuring that we've got it in the right places for easy access. Web forms and subscribe buttons, super important, just like our calls to action, which would be one singular button leading them somewhere. Our web forms, either as pop-ups or embedded forms, get people subscribing. Give us their email address so that they drop their business card in the fishbowl on their way out the door, and we can capture that lead and then connect with them again and remind us that we're here to serve them, or remind them of what we do and further educate them as to who we are. So really important to have those throughout your site, I would say above and beyond all other integrations. And then your subtle but properly connected social media links. No more Twitter streams down the side or Instagram embedded imagery that's going to bump me back off to social media. As we've said, we want to keep people on our site for as long as we can. All right, you've got a couple exercises here. So first things, we're going to play a little game. Exercise number 5 has us outlining our site or landing page in the simplest way possible. We call this My Site in 1 page and 5 assets. That's all you get. Excuse me. It's also known as Survivor Landing Page Edition. So you get 1 image. Describe it. What is it? Do you have it in mind already, or do you know what you need to go capture? 1 headline, 30 characters max, and then 1 subheadline, 90 characters max, and then 1 call to action. What does it say? How punchy can you make it? And where does it lead me? What's that destination for that call to action? What is the point of this landing page as a whole, but also where am I going from here? Priority number 1, you can have a couple priorities here if you like, but this is where I would suggest that if you're going to do this exercise, you do it for maybe your home page and then a secondary and a third page. And just thinking more about like what would be the simplest way to build these pages in a killer effective fashion. Exercise number 2. The 6-word bio. We do this in a number of our courses, and we'd be remiss if we didn't do it here, because having a proper intro statement is one of the absolute most important and often missing pieces of your business. When I say, hey, what do you do? Or what's your business about? And you wax on for sentences about the technical benefits and how long you've been in business and how many things you've changed, and my eyes glaze over, there's a reason for that. I didn't ask you the history of your business. I didn't ask you what your dreams and desires are and ask you to like fill me. What I'm really wondering is, maybe I'm just curious, but also, could I hire this person, or do I need this, or what is this about? Especially if I'm on your website and I'm not having a casual, friendly conversation with you. So I or we, some form of the word help, transform, create, teach, grow, show, build, who it is we help. Divorcees, dads, retirees, millennials, whatever, do what? And this is where we focus on that end result transformation. So what is the evolution or the result of working with you? And that's the focus. For us, Social School, we help entrepreneurs and small businesses grow their online reach. I could get a little bit more exciting than that, but that might be one kind of basic way to say it. And if I wanted to, I could cut that down even more and just say, grow your online reach. If I already know that where I'm placing this so-called bio or intro statement is somewhere that's been targeted to entrepreneurs and small businesses and marketers, I know that that's probably who's landing there. I don't need to say, I teach small businesses how to blah, blah. I can just simply say, grow your online reach, change the world, build your dream business, never look back. Things like that are emotional statements. So if you can nail that sort of first version of your 6-word bio, you can change it and smash it into different versions of itself in whatever kind of format or forum you're in, real life or online. And then finally, the 4 to 8 word headline. Also really important. So your super tight and bright, bold statement to place at the top of your homepage. If you want to do this before you do Survivor, homepage or landing page edition, by all means, please do. But again, it's that, remember the primary headline that Spotify had, and then the subheadline, or the Wix one, and then the subheadline that gives it a little bit more color. And in some cases, you know, it's Tony Robbins' website and it'll say something, transform your life, something spectacular as its primary headline. And then in the subheadline, he's giving himself a little credit. Join tens of thousands of world leaders in this remarkable award-winning program, or something like that. So it's up to you how you want to write it, but to have a few different versions of your headlines and subheadlines, or so-called taglines, is really important. And if you feel like it, make 10. Call them your key messages and put them in a document that you can easily pull from, or your team can, anytime you're short on some social copy, or that you need a jump off point for a blog post. Tell me more about that one. You know, for 15 years, we've been building the most, road weathered, winter ready winter tire in Canada or something. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Tell me more. And then you can go deeper into it. But these should be really compelling statements. All right, I will see you in Module 6. We're on the final 2 modules here, and we're going to talk about all the things that Google is hoping we incorporate into our websites so it can serve it up to those who are looking.